Thank you. Good morning. I call the meeting to order. Welcome, Brian, from wherever you are.
Hey guys,
just up the street.
just up the street.
And this is a meeting of the Executive Committee of the Columbia Economic Development Corporation. And to start, we have a consent agenda consisting of the minutes, the Executive Committee charter, the Executive Committee annual evaluation, and the Executive Committee discharge of duties. Any questions? Yeah.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. So the consent agenda is approved. Next is the status of our strategic planning process. Mike, can you?
We appreciated everyone's participation in the strategic planning session. Jim and I had an hour follow-up call with Michael Nadola and Allison Slack from MRB on Friday. We worked with them to help them better understand some of the constraints we have, both in terms of infrastructure and other aspects of what you might do in other communities. Obviously, one of the big things economic development organizations do around the country is try to attract new business and investment to the county. With the limited infrastructure and the limited available shovel-ready sites or buildings, and the lack of workforce, it's hard for us to go out and try to attract the global foundries. So we do have what we really find is people find us, and if they want to come to Columbia County or to one of the communities here, they do their own initial due diligence, and then we work with them to facilitate their arrival and expansion, and we've demonstrated that we do that pretty well. I don't know that taking out ads in the National Site Selection magazine is necessarily going to be a useful exercise, because what we would be doing is attracting them to the region, and they'd go to a bigger county. I don't think we want to publicly say we're not out to attract new business, but we don't attract new business through the marketing type process that they use in Saratoga or even Rensselaer or Schenectady or Albany. But we are looking to have a framework by the March board meeting. I don't think we're going to be in a position where we will have identified or refined all of the objectives and goals and tasks to complete those. I think we want to get a little bit more input from the board as we go through that process, but I think we'll be in a position at the annual meeting to give a 30,000 or 15,000 foot overview of the direction that the organization intends to move in the future.
Mike, is the constraining factor then the workforce, that we couldn't go out and say, yeah, that's the constraining factor?
I mean, putting aside some of the lease issues with the Flanders building, when we've had, we competed with Schenectady County on a company that they liked our project, our site, and Schenectady, and they went with Schenectady because they said to me, "Can you guarantee 120 employees here on day one?" And I did. I said we could. I got a radius report that showed there were 250,000 people living within a 30-mile radius of here, but they didn't really think that was as effective as having people within a 15-mile radius of Schenectady. So I do think right now we're still the lowest unemployment in this rate in the state. There's about 800 people on the unemployment rolls. That doesn't mean that there's not people who are no longer being counted because they've been out of work so long. But and obviously it's exacerbated by not having shovel-ready sites, not having buildings you can move in right away, and also not having housing, affordable housing. So we were trying to take the generic things that a consultant would recommend to a community and adapt them to what our situation is.
One overarching change in the strategic plan that discussed with consultants as a possibility was, right now we have 4 pillars that are presented as being of equal significance and attention. But the feedback from the board on the question about which of these should we own and lead versus support and assist, it clearly showed that the board wants us to focus on business development, overwhelming. And so what we're thinking of is, instead of 4 pillars, we have one, if you will, a large sun, and the other issues are orbiting that sun, because they all have a direct and indirect impact on our success in promoting business development. So I think it makes
It's a better visual, I think, than 4 equal pillars.
So we'll have more for you between now and the board meeting of what is that, March 14th. So stay tuned.
It's a work in progress, but I think we did get some good feedback, and I think it also demonstrates that we need to do a better job communicating to the board and to the community things that we do. I didn't want to everything that came up be defensive and say, well, we've done that, or we've done that. But it was clear that we, in certain areas, we were on the committee that wrote the county's new 5-year transportation plan. And I think that at least giving board members and the community opportunities to see those documents and know that we had participated in them. They might not like what the plan is, but they might have input that we might be able to use in amending or refining the future plan.
Thanks.
And I think, the other example was, I think specifically in Germantown. There's not a business in Germantown that we haven't either provided technical assistance to on the main street, technical assistance to or loans to. And, we also were the fiscal agent when they built that little park on the corner by autos and Figure Insurance. So, I mean, I don't know that, again, I didn't want to get the litany out, but I'm not sure we do a good job of what Steve is working on, is updating loans by town. And right now they're only, current loans, there's only, I think, 3 towns that we don't have loans in. And, it's Gallup, Taconic, and where there are no businesses. So, and that's important marketing material for the supervisors as well. And again, it's not to be defensive, it's just to, if you knew that in advance, you wouldn't say, oh, you should be doing this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next is the annual meeting. Annual meeting is less than 2 months away. And I think we've decided to punt on the site of that. You want to?
I met with Ben Fain, Jim and I met with Ben. He had his woman who manages the caboose contact us. She indicated that we went through the pricing, and recognizing that if they gave us a better deal than they were going to give the chamber, if they were giving the chamber a better deal than they were going to give us, it would put them in a difficult spot. They did have a 50% discount for not-for-profits, but the base price to use the place is not by the hour, it's by the event. And the minimum, the base is $5,000. So the venue would have cost us $2,500 before we went in and got food or beverage or AV equipment and other things. The discount on the food and beverage is 25%, and there's a $1,000 cleaning fee. So by the time we looked at it, it was going to be at least 2 times, to 2.25 times what we have ever spent in the past. We budgeted 10,000, we've reserved the college, and we thank Ben and his team, recognizing that, they have a market and they can't be giving people side deals. And they were very appreciative, the manager said she was very appreciative of the fact that we recognize that and, weren't pushing to.
Was the college okay with you?
There's no charge at college. We are having to figure out the catering. They do, CORE is the, provide some level of food service for the college. And, we're trying to determine whether they're interested or willing to provide that for us.
Now, there is a couple of HR things and contractual matters that we need to discuss as a committee. And to do that, I'd like to ask for a motion to enter executive session.
So moved.
Anyone, all in favor? Aye.
Brian had to cut out. So
All right, so we've completed our executive session and there's no more business on the agenda. Anyone from the public that we need to hear from? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Have a good week.